In this video, we're talking about past perfect. The helping verb for past perfect is going to be had, and that's for all subjects. And then the form of the main verb that we want to use is going to be the past participle form, or the third form of the verb. If it's irregular. If it's regular, the past participle is just add ed. And if it's the third form, it's irregular. If you need a list, you can just go to Google and Google irregular English verbs, and you should come up with a nice list in the first few hits. Okay, in the affirmative, we start with a similar pattern, and we do use a helping verb in the affirmative. Subject, helping verb, main verb, and then object. Okay, let's do a couple examples here. I would say maybe I, and then my helping verb is going to be had. I had taught English. Okay. She, if I use she, I also use the helping verb had. She had played music. Use a simple, an irregular verb there with adding ed. In the negative, follow a similar pattern that I've seen before, where I start with my subject, then my helping verb, then I use not, the main verb, and then an object. Okay, let's look at an example of that. So we might say something like, she had not played music. She had not played music. And then I can use the contraction form. Had not becomes hadn't. If I do a WH question, I start with the helping verb, then my subject, then my main verb, and then my object. So it would be something like this: had she played music? Had she played music? And then the short form, of course, we're going to use yes or no as our answer. Short form for yes would be yes, she had. Use that helping verb there. And then for negative, no, she hadn't. I use the contraction form there. For WH questions, it's going to be the same order, except I add that WH word at the beginning, and then my helping verb, then my subject, the main verb, and the object. And question mark there at the end. So I might say something like, where had she played music? And of course, my answer is going to be some kind of information that answers the question of where. She had played music before, when she was in her home country. The function of past perfect is actually a lot simpler than present perfect. So we'll start with our timeline here, where we've got the past, and we have now, and we have the future. With the past action, there's always two actions in the past. Okay, there's one action, and then there is a second action. So we have that second action is a completed action, and at some indefinite time before that, at some point in the past, we don't know exactly when, we just know that it was before the second action. So we've got action 1 and action 2. Both actions are in the past. One action happens before the other action. To show this, generally I use a phrase like by plus a time, by 2017, or I might say something like by the time, and then talk about an action. By the time I graduated. I also sometimes will use words like when, after, before, and already to express past perfect tense. So let me give you an example. All right, so an example here, we'll say something like, when I tried to pay for dinner, I realized that I had forgotten my wallet at home. Okay, so here the first action, or the second action is that I tried to pay for my dinner. The first action is that I had forgotten my wallet at home. So by the time this action happened, I tried to pay for dinner. This action, I had forgotten my wallet, already happened. I tried to pay for dinner. At some indefinite point in the past, I forgot my wallet at home. Now I want you to take a look at this other verb. This verb, realized. So you'll notice that the first action, had forgotten, uses past perfect tense. And then the second action, tried, uses simple past tense. Well, we've got another simple past verb here, realized. And that's because these two actions, tried and realized, happen in what we call a sequence, meaning the two actions follow each other pretty much immediately, or they happen one right after the other, with really no time or space in between the actions. When that happens, one action happens before another action, but the two actions happen in a sequence, we just use simple past for both. If there is some time and space, some kind of distance between the two actions, that's when we use past perfect. Okay, and that's it for past perfect tense.